What the color range command is a souped up version of the magic wand. It's basically magic wand 2.0. So we can do a nice little controlled test here. Go to the first image. I'm going to select the magic wand tool. Notice that it's set to all its default settings. Tolerance of 32, anti-alias, contiguous turned on. I'm going to turn contiguous off so that it'll select all pixels of a certain color. Then I'm just going to click here in a random pink petal. Just randomly in the pink petal, there I go. And what I want to do is I want to show you how a magic wand selection looks. Let's sort of analyze it. And I'm going to fill everything that's not currently selected right now with black, just to show you the nature of a magic wand selection. So under the select menu, I'm going to choose inverse, Option delete or Alt backspace to fill the selection with the foreground color, which is black, Command or Control D to deselect the image. Let's look up close and personal at it. There's a magic wand selection. Good. We'll come back to it in a second. Now let's do the same thing but with color range. Go under the select menu, choose the color range command. Color range is expressed as a command versus magic wand expressed as a tool. Just the nature of how the feature works. I have preset the fuzziness value, which is analogous but not identical, analogous to the tolerance value of the magic wand. I've set it to 32 so that we have the same setting going. And now notice if I move my cursor outside the color range dialog box, I get a little eyedropper. This allows me to click inside the image, just as if I were clicking with the magic wand tool. Now notice that I get this sort of selection preview inside the color range dialog box. Where we see white, those are the pixels that Photoshop will select for me. And where we see black, those are the pixels that Photoshop will not be selecting. Notice that this is a much more subtle selection that we're creating. Much smaller, more discrete, more subtle selection. So I think I'm going to raise the fuzziness value to about twice that, 64, twice that of the default tolerance value for the magic wand. And then I'm going to shift click a few times in the petals here. That looks good. And hit OK. Again, I want to fill the pixels that are not selected with black. So under the select menu, I choose inverse. I make the foreground color black. It's been switched to pink by the color range command. And then Option delete or Alt backspace on the PC. Command or Control D. And now we can see the difference. I will now zoom in to the petals so they're the same size. And notice the difference between the magic wand selection on left and the color range selection on right. The magic wand tool 100% selects pixels. So if a color falls inside of its tolerance range, then it absolutely selects it. If a color does not fall inside the tolerance range, like out here, then it doesn't get selected at all. There's no in between. And then at the last minute, the magic wand tool throws on some anti-aliasing or some artificial softening around the edge. It's sort of the sweet and low of softening just right around the edge here. However, then notice the difference with the color range command. The color range command absolutely selects the colors on which you click and shift click. Absolutely leaves deselected the colors that fall outside of its fuzziness range. And then everything in between gets gradually selected depending on how closely the color resembles the click and shift click colors. So notice that we have this nice soft transition going on the inside of this petal versus where's the similar petal over here? It's right here. This is the similar petal here. It's just selected and then bang, we go, look at that geometric edge there. That's bad. That's a function of the magic wand tool, sort of at its worst there. It leaves all these weird geometric sort of squares, big fat squares inside the image. And it just goes from being 100% selected to 100% deselected. Huge drop off right there where we get this nice subtle transition inside of the color range selection. So the color range selection is better. That's basically what it comes down to. The color range command is a better tool for creating naturalistic, continuous tone selections inside of Photoshop. However, it's harder to use. So that's the trade-off. Harder to use, but a better tool for making great selections.